Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for coming back to Clicks and Bricks. My name is Ken. My cell phone number, or my text message number, if you want to join my community, 314-370-2871. That's my community number. If you text that number, just say hi. Then you'll be in my community, and I will send you text messages, tips, tricks, motivational stuff, all kinds of different things, whatever I'm feeling like that day. And I promise you, it's fairly random.
So beautiful. My name's Brian. Welcome back to Clicks and Bricks. My text line is 314-216-2040. The things you can text me would be topics that you want to hear us come up with next. If you have questions to another podcast or to the upcoming podcast or whatnot, definitely let us know that as well. And make sure if you are watching this, wherever you're watching that, make sure you give us all the stars, okay? Rate us big time. Let's get going.
All right. What is today's topic for Between the Cubicles?
Today's topic got changed, but I'm excited about it because it's part 2 of the mindset that you need to run a business, start a business, and be in the business world, the world of entrepreneurship.
So last week we had the same topic, but we only got through 2 questions. We really kind of dove deep. So I'm glad that Nick decided to give us another shot at this topic.
Shout out to Nick for the awesome change of the players here, right?
I'm assuming we had some questions that we just didn't get to.
Yes, we had 3 more questions that we didn't get to, and they're actually pretty long questions. So they have a couple different. I didn't go all the way through because I want to be kind of surprised. Okay. But they have a few different steps to them. So we may have to take it down slower on these questions.
Okay, no problem.
So it'll be a fun time.
Cool.
All right. So, but before we get started with that, we have to at first talk about our Between the Cubicles, which today is sponsored by Nlink.com. Nlink.com is the one place for a professional-looking connection to all of your social media. Right? Go to Nlink.com. They have a free site for you, and there's also one you can pay for, but the free one works too. Either way works. All right, just go check it out. All right. So Between the Cubicles today, it is Warner Brothers and HBO Max are changing the game with releasing brand new movies onto their streaming service. So far, they've been having great success. The latest, Justice League, just took the world by storm, right? Yeah. So what they're doing that's so different now that I think is I'm so curious what it's going to do going forward for movies, right? Yes. Is that now with them releasing the movies on HBO Max and in the theater
on the same day.
On the same day.
Right. So Mark Cuban predicted this years ago.
Oh, he did?
Absolutely. Time and time again, he's like, there will be a time in our lives where movies are released streaming on day one. I don't think that he realized it would be this soon. And I think COVID really drove this game pretty severely, right? Yeah. Because how are you going to make a movie make money today? There's no movie theaters, right? Or the movie theaters are drastically reduced. So I absolutely love it. And did you watch
Justice League
yet?
I did not watch it yet.
I mean, it's a commitment. I've had relationships that don't take that long. it is. I mean, it's 4 hours and some minutes.
I mean, that's crazy for a movie, man.
Yeah.
I think Forrest Gump was the longest movie that I ever watched.
So I did watch it Saturday.
Oh, you did?
It took me 9 hours because I've got kids and I got life, right? I had to hit pause and come back to it later. So over the day, I got to watch it. And I'd watch it 2 hours. Then I got to watch another hour, and then I got to watch 30 minutes, and I got to come back and finish it. So yeah, it's a good movie. I think they did a great job with it. It probably could have been shorter, but I think for me the cool thing is that we're changing the game, and now, yes, we have 4-hour movies, but going to film school, I've always loved shorts, and I think that because things are being produced and put out at such a rapid rate now, I think short films will really come back into play quite a bit. Netflix has played with that a little bit. Yeah. And these 4-hour movies, I love how they did the 6 different parts of the movie. Really gave you opportunities to, this is a good breaking point, right? I'm gonna stop and then come back in a little bit. I kind of wish they would have just broken it up into 4 separate playable events, like a more of a mini series. But
interesting.
The movie was good. I think that these movies coming out on day one in streaming services is a home run. I think that they'll figure out how to make more money there.
I think you're onto something as well, and so is Disney. Report just came in here that yesterday, Disney Plus said they're going to do the same thing.
With Black Widow.
So I think it's a Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah. So, if you don't realize this already, the Hulk is my favorite character in the Marvel universe, and Black Widow would be my second favorite in the Marvel universe because she's kind of like his pairing.
Yeah, she keeps them calm.
She keeps them calm. She settles them down. So
that's a whole other conversation.
Whole different conversation.
I had to stop myself.
I'm super excited that Disney's going to do that too.
It's really cool.
Bug AMC and all the movie theaters and what they're going to do and how they're going to come out of this.
Super bummed. I love watching movies, and like I can't help but think that, man, is this going to be the end of going to the movies?
The end of going to the movies to me, well, so I went and I took my daughter to the Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn. It was a good time, but other than that, I've not really been. I mean, unless Kevin Smith comes out with the movie, I really don't go to the movie theaters anyway.
Man, I love it, but I remember going to the drive-in. Those are basically.
I love the drive-ins, right? But is that the new movie theater?
I don't even think it is anymore. Just because, like, if people don't go to the movies, maybe they can say that going to the drive-in makes sense now, but they're gonna reach. They gotta change everything.
The drive-in isn't any more social distancing than a movie theater in reality.
You're still pretty close.
Yeah, and but you're in your car, but you still go to the concession stand, you still goof off, you still
go to the bathroom.
When I was a kid, and I mean I'm old enough that I went to the drive-ins, right?
Right.
We'd be at the playground, we'd be goofing off.
Yeah. When your parents watch a movie, you got all this play. They don't care as long as you're on the property, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it was a great time. I love the drive-ins. Maybe drive-ins come back. I know we've been doing drive-up concerts. A lot of places have been doing that.
I would totally be down for that trade-off. Yeah. I find it hard to believe, being that now that a lot of movie theaters have transitioned into the luxury seats now.
Right.
So now they're like all renovating, dumping all this money to have a smaller movie theater with these awesome seats that you can lay back on and roost and.
Yeah, I think the movie rights are going to have to change quite a bit, right? So if they're releasing on video on day one, what are they going to charge? Because I mean, I owned a video store in the 90s or early 2000s. I owned a video store, and the rights to the movies were insanely expensive, right? The rights to rent a movie it wasn't cheap at all. So I don't even know what it was for a movie theater to play the movie on day one, right? It had to have been expensive.
It has to be.
Yeah. So I think they got to figure out that piece to make it worthwhile for somebody to start a business. But I think for small entrepreneurs, it could really be like, a Main Street kind of movie theater that is really white glove service and dinner, and like it could change dinner to movie.
Yeah, it really could.
Big time, right?
Dinner to movie was like that was a real date. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they can do it all in one venue,
which is a game changer,
right?
I mean, that's basically what they've been doing with the luxury movies. It is dinner.
Yeah, but it's still kind of crap food, right? It's over expensive.
Totally overpriced.
Right, but if they took a movie theater and put like a Michelin star restaurant in there and really fanced it up, or like even a fondue, and you have like your little viewing room, that would be a totally different ballgame. Right?
It really would be.
Yeah, so I think the opportunities are abundant here for people to come out with new concepts.
Right.
I think the production houses have to, or the distributors need to figure out how to make the whole process simpler to get the content to create these kind of venues.
So it's basically going to come down to making their rights affordable for smaller places to be able to actually have the movies and play the movies.
Well, that's something for rights for I know.
What if they just had a Disney Plus account and they just play that on the big screen?
Right, it's illegal, right? You can't do that. So I know I have a company, and we have about 1,700 people a month come through the door, and I pay my ASCAP fees. And ASCAP says, okay, this is how many people you have a month. This is how much we're going to charge you per month to play this set of music.
Got it.
Right, and it's affordable. It's really affordable. Like, it makes it to where I can have top 40 songs inside that business playing over the speakers.
That's pretty cool.
I think if they figure that out with the movies, and they say, well, people are going to pay for it either here or at their house, right? And then yeah, let's move forward. But they got to give some room for the small business owner to make some money there. And I think if they do that, it could be really cool.
And if they don't, it's going to drive people to the streaming services. If you want to see, if you're a movie person,
and they might do that, right? I mean, the guys that have Disney Disney has not all of them, but a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Time Warner. But if you have some of the smaller movie houses that don't have their own streaming service, that still want to do that kind of
service
where you go to the movie theater and see it for the first time, maybe that's an option for them. We'll see.
So I mean, just like you said, when one door opens or closes, another one opens, right? So
yeah, I see these. I hope, and because I would really like that to have a private little room with this big screen through a window,
pretty cool,
and have a waiter come in and all that stuff, and have good food. Not. I think they've done a decent job of giving decent bar food at the movie theaters, or maybe even ballpark food, but it's not good.
I'd say it's better than ballpark food. But
I think it's better than ballpark?
I would say, at least the stuff that I ordered.
But it's not like restaurant where you go out on a date food.
No.
Right? It's fried chicken wings.
It's still pub and grill food.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I love. I mean, you can tell by my belly, I love pub and grill food, but moving forward, I think it's great. I love everything that's happening right now. I'm bummed that COVID was the catalyst to make it happen. But I guess if we need a catalyst, we need a catalyst for change. And
it is what it is, right? Yeah. And I love it when things happen in our society and that instead of taking it as a super loss and just being bummed about it, people's like, you know what? I'm gonna turn these lemons into lemonade, right? I'm gonna do something cool anyway. Right.
At my age, I don't think I would have seen Justice League at a movie theater for 4 hours. If I was in my 20s or early 30s, maybe, but I don't, and I would have went with a bunch of friends and made a day of it, but at my age, I don't think I make that kind of commitment to a movie theater, sit in a movie theater for 4 hours to watch that kind of movie.
That's tough, man. That's
but in my house where I can hit pause, I can go do different things, come back to it. Yeah, I think storytelling in 2021 and future is going to be some stuff that we just haven't even. I mean, they're going to come up with all kinds of cool shit that we never even thought of, right?
TikTok blowing up, 15 seconds, minutes, stories.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean,
so
who knows?
It's time. We have the technology. We have the infrastructure.
Time to play with stuff.
And see what happens. And experiment. See what goes on.
So if you guys are listening, tinker away. We want to see some cool stuff. All right, get the tinkering.
Yes.
All right, so let's dive right back into part 2 of what mindset you need to run a business, to start a business, and to keep your business. All right, this is carried on from last week. So if you're interested, go back and check out that as well. Okay, we're going to dive right into here. The first question is by Daniel. Let me move this over so I can read it. All right, and it says, Daniel asks, I am a high school student who is wanting to start my own clothing business. I work part-time in a restaurant on weekends, so I have some money, but not as much as I'd like to start. What is the best advice for someone in my situation? For a situation like mine.
So, obviously, for that, I need more context on a clothing line. What does he mean? My gut says PODs right away, print-on-demand services, Printly, all that stuff. Great services, very low margins, right? So, but you can get started and you can make money selling your designs on t-shirts, mugs, all that stuff, doing print-on-demand services. If you're looking at a different world where you want to design a shirt or design a pair of pants, things like that, I would say, get a couple of pieces made, right? However you need to do that. If you can sew them yourself, get them made, and then just literally email and mail and DM all of the distributors and manufacturers to show them your designs, right? Don't make designs and let them sit in your closet. Make designs, show them, get social media profiles right away, and just
there you go.
Whatever you can do to show your designs, and then just really hustle with that as much as possible. But if you really want to sell T-shirts and you're an artist, I mean, start making them and then just do Printify or Printly or any of the print-on-demand services. Start your shopping cart. You don't even need. I mean, they do the website and everything for you.
That's pretty cool.
You get your website, Facebook Marketplace, Printful integrates with Facebook Marketplace even.
That's awesome.
Right? So you can literally just upload your designs, make your shirts, put them right there on Facebook, and your mom and your aunt will buy T-shirts. I promise. If you tell them to, they will buy your T-shirts from you. So if you're in high school, congratulations for hustling and even wanting to do this, right? A clothing line's tough, right? A lot of people have started a clothing line. I've got a very small t-shirt line, and it's tough. It's a big investment. You don't sell through all your inventory. It's a tough game. My t-shirt line is a very local. It's St. Louis based, and it's okay. I like doing it. It's fun. Not only is it St. Louis based, it's St. Louis in a niche, right? It's St. Louis boxing people.
Right.
So I say go for it. Get your shirts made. If you find a shirt that you're selling well, then you want to find a local printer, all right? And find a local printer. Tell them what you're doing. You're not going to make good money on t-shirts out of the gate until you can start buying
in bulk.
Minimum 20 shirts at a time, which is really tough. But really, when you're 100, 200, 500, 1,000 shirts at a time, that's when you start really getting more margin. And do not buy those shirts before you know that you can sell that design.
Yes. That probably my biggest advice, you kind of alluded to a little bit, is do not buy inventory. Everything right now needs to be made to order. Because that's going to destroy you before you even get started. If you have all these different shirts or all these different pants and people don't buy them or they don't like them or it's the wrong size and you got a bunch of sizes that no one even wants, now you've wasted all this money. I would make everything made to order. But I would also utilize some of the resources that you already have. Like, if you're in high school, I would go right over to the school and I would say, I'll make your jerseys. I'll make this. I'll make that. Whatever's going on in your school where the school's gonna be paying for it anyway, pitch them.
Right.
Pitch them and try to be a local celebrity right there. I would make my own shirts. So every single shirt that I wear would be my own brand. I would do that on my social media profiles and I'd be constantly in people's DMs saying, you want to be an ambassador? Yep. First shirt's on me.
So with that said, that's a great advice on wearing your own stuff and making your own stuff. So I don't think that if you want to own a t-shirt business or a clothing line that you should know every single thing about material and cloth and stitching.
That gets crazy.
But you have to know at least enough to hire people and know when it's good quality. So I would say heavy YouTube on how to make t-shirts.
There you go.
I would learn how to screen print. I would learn how to cut vinyl. I would learn how to wick vinyl, which is a gigantic pain in the butt. And I would learn how to do all those things. If you're a kid and you're in high school, you're not really a kid, you're a young adult, you're hustling. Crickets aren't that expensive. You probably have somebody in your friends or family that has a cricket that isn't using it.
Right,
so
right.
Just really hustle for crickets on marketplace and things like that, and get a cricket.
Yep.
So that you at least understand the process of printing out vinyl, cutting it, heat pressing it onto a shirt, and then removing the negative, which is I think it's called wicking.
I don't know what it's called. That's the part that sucks about it.
Yeah, it's really not fun, and that's where a lot of the you buy a t-shirt in bulk for like $1.30, and then the labor involved and the making the screen print and everything gets that up to $6
fast.
Wholesale, you shouldn't be paying much more than $12 a t-shirt wholesale.
Depending on the quality of the shirt you're getting, man.
You should really kind of knock it down to $9.
But you got to buy a lot of time to get that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes into.
But if you buy it for $9, you should be able to sell it for $18 to $24 and make some money, right? If you buy it for $12 and you sell it for $16, you're not going to make any money because it's going to cost you $4 to sell the damn thing, right? And your time and energy and effort,
right?
Unless you're selling to a high school team like football shirts or baseball shirts or things like that,
club or whatever,
right?
Well, I just know there's so many opportunities there, man.
There are a lot of opportunities, but it is a hustle, right? It's a grind. You got to do the grind. You got to be ready for it. And if you're not, then they're just going to find somebody that is, right?
Right.
But all things being equal, t-shirts and clothing is a commodity all day long. So, but if you're buying a customized shirt for a group or a team, bowling shirts, things like that, then it's relationship-based purchasing, right? And they'll spend a couple extra dollars. I'll spend more money with people I know and people that turn it around quickly. Yep. So I'll spend the more money because I trust the person's going to get it done, and if they don't, they're going to fix it. Mm-hmm. And I'll also spend more money if it's going to be fast turnaround. So you can go to these online places and get shirts made for a reasonable price and slow turnaround.
Right.
So those are.
I think I would also spend more money for something custom. If I knew it was something specialized for me, I'd be okay with going a little bit out of my price range than I normally would do.
I like custom stuff. I also don't like custom stuff. Like I've got mixed bag with custom stuff, right?
Like what do you mean by that?
Well, I've got a custom Jeep, and it just screwed me, right? Because something broke on it, and it took me it's been in the shop for 4 weeks. I just got it back today.
I noticed it was clean today too. I was like, man, he's happy to have his truck back.
Yeah, so it's like sometimes custom is bad because the parts aren't readily available. But custom is nice because you're
People
the only
like
one that has
custom stuff.
it. Yeah.
Right. So Daniel, I hope that answers your question. If you have any if you need more follow up with that, let us know. Right. Absolutely, hit the text line at 314-216-2040. All right. So moving along to the next question. This one's by Mark. Oh, actually, let's take it back for a second. We talked about a clothing line. Let's talk about another business that we think that some people that are opening up now because of COVID.
Okay.
What are some businesses you think that could use some? First off, what businesses do you think are being opened up now, being that like COVID has changed the game? I feel like contractors are popping up everywhere because now everyone's doing home projects.
Yeah, so not only just COVID, but the stimulus money has really focused on home improvement stuff. Home improvement's tough, right? I think, if you wanted to start that business, now's a great time to do it if you're a local handyman. I don't know if I don't know if I call it a business or just a sole proprietorship, right? And I think there's a little bit difference there.
There's a little bit difference, but I guess it's got to start like sole proprietor, and then you turn it into a business.
The guys that I know that do that, and I don't have a vast knowledge of construction, right? I mean, I've got my buddy Gary that's doing some work for me right now. He's doing a big job for me that requires city permits and government permits, and everything's got to be ADA compliant. And he's doing pretty well right now, almost so well that he didn't take my job, right? And I really had to, dude, I really need help here, help me out. So he did. So I think they're booming, but those bigger contractor jobs are tough, right? Because if you're going to be a bigger contractor, you're going to be doing jobs at $50,000, $100,000, you have to understand that the money doesn't come until after the job's done. So you have to pay all your labor, all the materials, all that stuff up front, and you're responsible for break fix. So it's tricky. But if you're going to be like a handyman, you got services like Amazon that you can go and say, hey, I'll be a professional installer. You got TaskRabbit, things like that. It's a great time to start your own business where you're a guy or a lady that's going to go out and do these things for people. Great time for it.
There you go.
Because people, not everybody has readily available cash, but everybody just got a $1,400 check.
At least.
Or not everybody, most people did, right? I know a couple people that own their own businesses that don't qualify. That don't qualify for it.
Most people did get it, and most people got more than that because they have kids and all that kind of stuff.
If you didn't get it, it's probably because you're a cash-based business and you're not reporting all of your stuff, right? Or you make so much that you're not out of that game.
Bracket.
So,
which is another podcast for another day.
Right. So construction businesses, I think the businesses that I think are happening the most right now are happening out of idle time because you got a lot of people at home, a lot of time at home, that have cameras, they've got technology, they've got ideas. So YouTube channels are blowing up, Udemy classes are getting bigger.
Etsy's blowing up.
Etsy's getting more and more traction. So I think those kinds of services, work from home, solopreneur kind of businesses are blossoming right now, and some of them are crushing it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I definitely thought about it, especially when I went to go to Lowe's and I noticed that the price of lumber has gone up by 3%.
3 times or 3%?
Yeah, 3 times.
The price of lumber has increased
by 3.
So is that a supply chain and labor issue, or is it?
I'm not sure, man. All I know is that I looked at my Facebook. I talked to my friends. I know everyone.
Well, the price of fuel's doubled, right? So the price of lumber has to go up because it costs more to get it there.
So that could be part of it,
right?
But I was surprised by 3. Usually it costs $2.60 something, and now it's like 10
for a 2x4.
Yeah. Wow. It's insane, dude. So I'm like, either people are buying a lot of it because the supply is gone, or the price of fuel has gone up, so now it's just taking more.
Well, I don't think
resources.
it's one of the. I think it's a combination of multiple things, right? So I know that I love our country. I love our postal service. I love all those things. But I know the United States Postal Service is shit right now. Not that it was great 2 years ago, but since COVID, I know our system is getting in, mail 4 or 5 weeks late. Things are on back order because American people aren't working. So we don't really do manufacturing in this country, but we do a lot of assembly. So we'll get parts from other countries shipped here, and then we assemble them in the States and then ship them out. So those people aren't working. It's not that they're not doing their job, it's that their boss isn't paying them to do the job. So, I mean, I've had 2 things that were back ordered for more than 6 weeks in the past 2 months.
We have medicine for our oldest dog, the small one, and it's on back order.
The medicine?
Yeah, the medicine.
Right. So is that because, why? Because people aren't working.
That's the only I can really think of.
Right.
People aren't working.
Yeah. So it's bad. Like, people not working is bad for everybody.
Yeah, we're just trying to put out our dog, man.
Like, we're used to, we want everything now, and we just half the country just got put off work, or has been off work now for a year, and we had a supply chain that was kind of built up,
right?
But now it's
plowed through that.
It's depleted.
Yeah,
we're at the end of the bucket.
Yeah,
got to get back to work. Got to start making stuff again.
Right. So hopefully, like, the stimulus checks, I guess the whole point of that is to help get things kind of going, but still, if people are not working, if
I buy it and I don't get it for 6 weeks, what the hell?
What the hell?
Jesus, man. Come on, give me my stuff.
Right. Let's keep this thing going. Next question here is by Mark. And Mark asks, do you think there are specific traits that you must have to be a successful business owner? If so, and if someone does not possess those traits, do you think that it's possible that they can develop them?
Yeah, I think you can develop. So I'll start with development. Yes.
Before we go to development, let's talk about what traits they need.
Right.
Let's start there.
Okay. So I think there's a lot of different traits that a person needs.
Is this a top 10 moment?
Oh, I don't know if it's top 10. I don't know if I'm that organized with my thoughts.
Okay.
I think the number one thing that you have, are we starting a business or taking over a business?
He just says to be a successful business owner.
So I think the number one thing that you have to be a successful business owner is, and I hate saying this because I'm not a religious person at all, I think you have to have faith.
I knew you were going to say faith. I do it.
Right? And it's faith in yourself, that you have the tenacity to keep going when things are hard.
Yep.
Faith that your product and your idea or your service is worthwhile. Faith that something will happen before you hit the brick wall to get you out of trouble, because that's going to happen, right? You're going to have to, once you have employees, the dynamic changes wildly. Because you're flipping levers, and I said the other day, it's like, okay, today I'm gonna flip this lever and I'm gonna run as fast as I can. It's gonna take me 6 months to get to the end of this hallway, and I flipped this lever 6 months ago that opens the door 6 months from now, and everything between then and now has got to line up, where that door is going to be closed when I hit it, and it's going to suck. Right. I think you have to have faith is a huge one, right? I think you have to be really comfortable and have a really good relationship with change, and be okay with that. And it's because you're going to set a date and it's going to miss it, right? Sometimes you're going to be early, sometimes you're going to be late, and how do you deal with that? So I would put number one at faith. Okay. Number two, adaptive to change.
Obviously, just adapting. You have to just adapt, because sometimes you may have to just adapt to the situation.
Yep, I think that's a better word than change.
Right, because like right now, if you started a business a year ago, COVID didn't really exist yet, right? And then all of a sudden, everything changed. So now people can't come into places. A lot of places got shut down for three months or so.
Yes.
Right?
Or more.
Some are still not back active, so you may have to
I have a
change.
retail store right now that is at 25% capacity because St. Louis County will not allow me to do more than 25% of my occupancy
Right.
during COVID, and they still haven't released that restriction.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
So think about being prepared and dealing with your landlord when the government says you can only do 25% of your capacity, which absolutely directly correlates to only 25% of the revenue you were getting pre-COVID. Because only 25% of people can walk in the door. So it's
not rocket science, right?
Yeah. So we're going to say faith is the number one.
Mm-hmm.
Not faith in religion or a God or anything, but in yourself and
product, your business, like
everything will be okay.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. And then 2 is adaptability. I think those are
top 2.
Those
right
are
there.
huge things that you need if you're going to run a business. And both of those things, I believe, can be learned.
Yes.
You might learn the same lesson 10 or 20 times, but eventually you'll get comfortable with change and adapting, and eventually you'll have faith because you will have pulled yourself out of so many shitty situations that you'll just know whatever comes at my way, I'll be able to figure that out.
Or hindsight's 2020, right? And you learned, okay, that was a terrible situation. I need to not do it that way again.
Right.
Right. So after we adapt, I'd say the other thing you would have to do is to understand that failure's okay. Failure's not bad. It's only bad if you stop. You can fail at that part of it, but
so then you
can
got to
learn
define failure.
So
right?
okay,
I only define failure as quitting.
Okay, yeah, I would say quitting or getting dead or getting locked up because you can't.
Right.
You can't run your business that
The only
way.
time you fail is when you quit.
Yeah.
Other than that, they're just lessons.
Exactly. So your relationship to failure has to absolutely be changed because you're going to have to adopt, and you can't adopt until you accept the fact that what happened didn't work.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it so hard for people to adapt to change in the first place because they don't want to admit in the first place that they were wrong.
Right.
They take that so personal. They make it mean all these other things besides that just did not work. The way you went about it worked. It wasn't that you don't work. That way did not work. You have to separate the two. Have to separate the two.
Then I think if you have those things, those are kind of subjective, kind of wishy-washy kind of things to talk about. And then I think it's knowing your numbers and being observant and really observant. So I've got a story. I was working with a team, and I walked in, and I'm paying these guys like $14 an hour. And this kid is sitting there, and he's literally cleaning $1 roller brushes. And I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I was told to wash these brushes." I'm like, "Throw them away." He goes, "I was told to wash them." I'm like, I'm paying you. Throw them away. And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because you've got 5 of them there. It's $5 in product. That's going to take you an hour to clean them.
They cost me $14.
You cost me $14 an hour, and you're cleaning 5. And this hour you're going to clean $5 worth of material. So just throw the $5 away, and go buy 5 new ones if you need 5 new ones, right? Or if you want to keep them, throw them in a paper towel." And wash them on your time, and you keep them. But I'm not paying you for an hour of labor to save me.
That cost me.
It cost me $7.
Yeah.
Right. This hour instead of just throwing those away and going and clocking out or doing something else. Right. So I think knowing your numbers and knowing when things are profitable or not profitable is another thing. And obviously, I want to take care of the environment. But I honestly believe that rollers were meant to be disposable. I don't think that they were ever designed to be, reused a whole bunch of times. But I could be wrong. I don't know. But knowing your numbers, balancing your checkbook like every single day. If you own a business and you're running a business, you have to know your numbers. You have to know when you're in profit. You have to know you have to know how much money you have in the bank.
Right.
Every second of the day, you need to know this stuff, right? You need to know it when you wake up, and you need to know it before you go to bed. Because there's going to be an opportunity that comes your way that you need to be able to make the decision without saying, "Hold on, how am I going to get the money to do this job?"
Right.
Right? Do I need to borrow it? Do I have it already? You have to make those decisions quickly. Mm-hmm. You have to turn them around fast, or you can lose the jobs.
You're absolutely right about that.
So faith, adaptability, and knowing your numbers. I think.
And your relationship to failure needs to be updated.
Yes. Yes.
And that you just also made me think of, you have to know how to solve problems.
Yeah.
When I say solve problems, I mean that like you need to be you need to be able to understand that, okay, I don't know this part, so I'm going to stop. I'm either going to learn it myself, or I'm going to find a resource to help me do it.
Yeah, so delegation would be another huge one. I kind of just take that as a given, but yeah, it's an important piece. Being
Common
able
sense ain't so common anymore, man.
It's tough, man, because
you got to be honest with yourself, though.
well, and you have to not just, there's some shit that you just like I like building websites, I like doing construction, I like doing that shit.
Right.
But I know that if I do it all, then I'm gonna fail. Right. If I try to do everything, I'm gonna fail at everything. So
Correct.
being able to delegate to Gary to do all the construction is fantastic. Knowing that, okay, we sold 10 websites this week, yeah, I would love to work on one or two of them, but I really have a staff to do that. I shouldn't
Right.
be. Is huge. So
Delegation, I think.
delegation would be high on my list.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're starting your business and you don't know how to build a website, you're going to spend so much time and energy yourself trying to do that.
Right.
When you could literally just pay someone to build a website.
And that's a hard one for me to even get because I was the first employee at Hosterian. I own my other business. I've always been kind of a founder person, so letting other people do the work is
That's hard for people.
To me, I don't even put that in the delegation bucket. I put it in the adapting bucket because that's something that I have to adapt and learn how to do better, right? And I'm always struggling with that. I always want to just do it because, well, that's how I started, right?
You like to run.
I like to run, and I literally started it in my parents' basement with the yellow pages.
So I mean, if you're running, there's not a lot of time for you to be like, let me stop running and grab someone else so they can run with me.
Right.
Because
And they never run at the same pace.
They run at the same pace, and then they'll trip and fall and make you fall. It's a challenge, right?
Yeah. Or they run faster than you, and you got to get your ego hurt a little, right? Like, oh, shit.
Or they run the wrong damn way. You're like, wait a minute, we're not going over there, dude. We're going over here. So we would start off with those top 5, right? Our top 5 would be you have to have that faith, right? That faith may lead or sound like delusionalness. And
I've heard it called delusional bubble.
I've called people delusional before.
And the more wild your idea is, the more faith you need to have, right?
Yeah. Because people are going to tell you that you're ridiculous. They're going to tell you no. They're going to tell you that you're not so smart and you're an idiot for doing it. But you have to have the faith that you can make this work if you really want to start your own business or run your own business.
Right. And you have to be okay if the whole thing fails.
Yes. You got to be okay. It was a good run. It was a good run. Time to shut it down. All right. This time let's go ahead and take another break here for tech history. All right. Tech history. And
well, Brian's getting that out. If you want to join my community, my text line community, 314-370-2871 is my text line. And today in Tech History, again, is sponsored by My Team Fitness. Daily workouts for everybody that you can achieve in your house with no equipment needed. Clicks and Bricks is the coupon code or discount code.
Yep.
Get you 75% off your monthly subscription, monthly or annual subscription. So
there you go.
If you're looking for a daily routine, exercise routine, and you don't know where to start, and you're nervous about it, My Team Fitness, Clicks and Bricks, 75% off. And the first 7 days is free anyway, right? So there's absolutely no risk to sign up.
Right.
Go sign up, get your 7 days free, check it out. If you like it,
keep it.
Keep it. If you're not, then cancel it. And there's absolutely no risk to you at all.
There you go. MyTeamFitness.com. So this week in tech history, we have March 21st, 2001. Mac OS X is born. All right, so Mac OS, look at your face, dude. The first public version of the Mac OS X is released. Also on the 25th of March 25th of 1996, the movie Twister became the first feature film they put on DVD.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about Apple.
Let's talk about Apple.
So don't quote me on any of these numbers. I'm using 20 years of recollection here, right? But so Jobs leaves Apple and he does Pixar and Next, I think it was NextNet or something like that, where he did this other computer design. and the Apple stock was really tanked, right? And I had some Apple stock at the time, and I'm like, man, Apple's dead. It's not going to come back. It's just not going to happen. And Jobs comes back to Apple, and I bought some more stock. Apple's gonna turn this around, and they start talking about OS X. I'm like, this is it, right? Because now the Apple OS, Apple has always been very closed network, closed design, right? They solder their RAM in their slot so you can't swap it out.
Right.
It's a closed system. All of their software has to be vetted by Apple, right?
Right.
We went to the computer store in 2000, and there was computer stores, right? There's still some left,
That's crazy,
but there was there was CompUSA, right? If you went to CompUSA in 2001, you would see a row of Microsoft software. You'd have 4 rows of Microsoft software, and you'd have this small little corner of Apple software, because Apple was the only one making Apple software. Their computers didn't blue screen. They were more reliable, but they weren't as fast, and you could not get as much software for them, and Microsoft had Office. But then they decided to go with OS X, so they do a Linux kernel. So you have full open source kernel underneath it, and I'm like, man, this is for the geeks, right? This is a game changer for Apple, because now anybody can write software on top of Linux that puts it on a Windows. This is going to be the catalyst that changes Apple. That's what I thought. And then OS X comes out, and it kind of just floats. Like, nobody really adopted it hardcore. And I made the horrible mistake. I sold all of my Apple stock at $19 a share. I bought it like $9, so it doubled. I did decent. But not what I could have made, because then Jobs comes out with a damn box that holds
the iPad, or not
the damn shuffle, the
MP3 player,
right?
Yeah.
The iPod. He comes out with that, and that's when the stock just explodes,
crazy, right?
So I really put the bucket on the computing.
Not the music.
And where I really screwed up was and where Jobs just nailed it is he really just focuses on the user experience of whatever he's doing, right? And the iPod.
That gave me goosebumps. Think about that commercial. He said that 10,000 songs.
Yeah, and where I really screwed up is I thought everybody knows what I know. Right? And I'm like, well, I've got MP3 players. Like, at the time, I had a system. Me.
Wasn't Napster back then at that time frame?
Napster was dead. Yeah, LimeWire, all that stuff like that. I literally had it in my truck. I'd pull in my driveway. My car would sync with my house, and it would download any of the songs that I had on Napster to my car that I could play in my car, right? So, I mean, I had well over 10,000 songs in my car whenever I went to, right? I had them synced up, and I had a Nextel, so I could play them on my phone already. I didn't see the value.
Living up, man.
And I think I didn't see the value because I was an early adopter in digital music and digital everything. I was an early adopter, so I didn't see the value, and I missed the boat big time because the average American did see the value.
Yes,
and they crushed it, and Apple knocked it out of the park. And way to go, Steve Jobs, for doing that. But I don't think any of that stuff happens without OS X.
Exactly.
Right?
That opened up the door.
Yes.
Right?
And Apple today is a juggernaut company that's doing...
I think that opened the door for the iPhone, actually.
It does, right? Because this is the first consumer handheld device that Apple made.
Right.
Right? It goes to iPod Shuffle. It really solidifies iTunes.
Yep.
Right? Because iTunes was kind of like, what is this for?
Right.
Without the iPod, what is iTunes for?
You don't really need it.
Right. And I hate it. I hate iTunes.
Agreed.
Right? Because I can't transfer them between platforms. So I don't like restrictions with my technology. I like
restrictions with anything, honestly, man. Unless I'm putting restrictions.
Yes.
I like to be in control of what the restrictions are.
Right. So, but yeah, great job, Apple, for coming out with OS X. And I guess then if we want to talk about the movie, Twister being the first feature film put on DVD.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, though. I mean, it goes right in line with, now we're talking about 20 years later. We're talking about movies being released straight to streaming, right? And DVDs are
dead now. No one buys DVDs because remember, like, because the Blu-rays killed DVDs.
Did they?
I mean, why?
Or did streaming kill? Did streaming kill DVDs and Blu-rays? I think at the same time. Did Blu-ray ever even get off the ground?
I mean,
at massive scale,
it didn't really get all. It didn't get the massive scale, but it got to the point where, like, why would I buy a DVD when I have a TV that shoots in 1080? I want to buy the Blu-ray so I can get the awesomeness in it, right? I buy this big awesome TV surround sound.
Stream in 4K now,
but now you can stream so that, and I don't need neither one of them.
But you can stream the whole time. Is my argument, I guess.
But the average person didn't know how to do that, though.
Okay.
You did. Your crew did, right?
Yeah, I mean, Roku's been out for a long time. Right?
Yeah, and a lot of people just didn't really. I didn't really think Roku really like.
Plex and PlayOn have been out for a long time,
but people didn't really mess with it like that.
I guess they. For me, $100 a month then was a lot of money, and that's what it cost for cable.
For a streaming service, yeah.
Well, that's what it cost for cable. It was $100 a month, so I couldn't pay for cable because I didn't have the money to pay for cable. So I learned how to stream a long time ago.
There you go.
Right? Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy that the backgrounds that people come from, man. Like, it opens up doors or it closes doors,
yeah,
right?
I mean, I rocked through Netflix, right? So back then, I subscribed to Netflix and I had 3 DVDs at a time.
Yeah.
And I would get the TV shows, I would get the DVDs, I would rip them at night when I was sleeping and put them on my local server and then ship the DVDs back, and then I could watch the DVDs whenever I wanted.
That's so awesome.
And I would just rip them. So I did it because I was poor and I liked content. I wanted lots of content. I always like lots of content. My wife gives me hell all the time because she's like, I think you like looking for TV shows more than you like watching TV shows.
It's so interesting.
I'll just sit and watch them, and I'll watch the trailers, and I'll watch the previews.
Love watching trailers. I don't know what it is about a trailer. Like, if it doesn't catch me, I'm like, I don't want to do it.
There's a whole channel that plays nothing but trailers.
Great. Yeah. Forget the movie. I just want to watch a trailer.
Yeah. So, and I figured out last night, me and my daughter were playing on TikTok last night, and my wife was like, she goes, it's just too much, it's too fast. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it just changes every minute. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. She's like, it's too much for me. I'm like, okay.
That's interesting. Because most people have that short attention span, so they love 15 seconds, great, in and out.
I really enjoy it.
Most Americans, that's why TikTok is blowing up.
Yep.
Blowing up. So thank you, My Team Fitness, for bringing our tech history this week in tech history. Thank you, Steve Jobs, for everything you've done for Apple. Definitely changed lives of everyone. I guess we could say.
I'm not a fan of your products today, but I am a fan of Steve Jobs. I think he did a great job, and I always love Toy Story.
I mean, how can you not like? I mean, that was one of my favorite Pixar movies, man. For real, it was really awesome.
Yes.
All right. So moving on to our last question of the day. This one is by Evan, and Evan asked, I am 24 and I'm planning to open my own business soon. Getting everything ready to launch has been overwhelming at times. Facts. What is your advice to navigate through the rough waters, in quotations, and also advice to get to advice to get the smoother waters faster?
Don't ever expect smooth waters. First, get that out of your head. You're starting a business. You're gonna have ups and downs, ebb and flows for the entire go. You're 24 right now. You've got a lot of room ahead of you to run. I think my best advice, hands down, if you're starting a business, you're that age, make sure that you have a hobby or some kind of fitness routine that you enjoy doing. For me, it's boxing. Something that's outside of the business, and give yourself 1 hour every single day, unconditionally 1 hour every single day to do that activity, whatever it is. If it's boxing for me, I know it's boxing, it's the gym for Brian.
Yeah. I have a couple of them. Boxing, gym, motorcycle.
Right. My CEO, it's wine. He really likes that. So whatever it is, whatever your hobby it is, and I would try to bring it around something around fitness, because if you're starting a business and you want it to be successful, you should not even consider having a 40-hour work week, because it's just not going to happen. You're going to be 60, 80, 100 hours a week working on your business. So make sure for your health and your prosperity, that you have something in there for that. 24 to 35, you're going to have a great run, man. Your health is going to probably be pretty good through there. But if you have it in your head now that you need that fitness hobby in your life and you really focus on it, when you get 35, 40, your body won't start falling apart, hopefully. And you'll be better suited for it. And you won't be, I had to learn this at 40, right? I did nothing fitness related, and I literally hit 40 years old and I fell apart. It was very, very bad, and I had to, maybe 38 is when I think it started, because I just didn't do anything but work, and I was sitting for 8 to 20 hours a day, and I wasn't doing any kind of exercise. It was just bad. So if you're not fit, your business won't be either. It's just
that's deep.
It's just that simple, right? So if you don't have the ability to sit and do the work, to climb the ladder, to do whatever it is that you need to do, then it's just not going to get there.
Nothing works without your health, man.
Nothing works without it.
You're going to have to stop and address that first.
If you're creating a business, hopefully, I mean, I don't ever do anything like, for me personally, other than the gym and the boxing, because I always have other people in mind when I'm doing the businesses and things like that. And even when I'm like, oh man, this is going to help the customer and these other things. Right. You don't have yourself in mind when you're doing those things. But if you're not there, the business won't be either. So
you are the business at this point.
Yeah. So take care of yourself first, and then the business is going to be is hands down my best advice I'm going to give you for if you're 24 years old and you're starting a business. How do you make it run more efficiently? Always look for not shortcuts, but always look for more efficient ways to do it. I have a 100-time rule. As I'm doing a task, I try to do it 100 times, and if I've done it 100 times successfully, then I automate it away, right? If I can do that job 100 times and no variables change, then I work on automation for that job.
I mean, that operational stuff is your that's your sweet spot, dude. Like,
I love ops. I love making things easy. That's my home.
That's your jam, dude.
Yeah.
That's your jam. But I think you're giving Evan fantastic advice with making sure that his health is number one, and also making sure that he has time for himself. Because at the end of the day, man, you're absolutely right. Not making time for yourself, all that does is like put the time you should have for yourself away in a bubble, and then once that bubble bursts, that's when people have nervous breakdowns. That's when people have midlife crisis. That's when like this all hell. Yeah, they stop. They're mad at the world. They're not the same person afterwards. They're completely different, right? And one of the things about working out that I didn't know about until after I got into it for about a year or so is that when it comes to navigating through rough waters, the waters never get any less rougher. You just get better.
Yeah.
Right? But you get better from building that mental strength. And working out and moving your body actually helps you build that mental strength. You're like, man, I didn't do this before, but now I can. What else can I do now?
Right.
And now the whole time you're working out, you're thinking about how you can improve and get better in this spot, and all of a sudden something triggers, and the whole problem you had, you now just figured it out while you were doing deadlifts in the gym. Right? Or whatever the case may be.
Well, actually, that also gives you, not for me, for the way I exercise, it doesn't give you that time, but in some cases, sometimes I've seen this, like if I ride the bike, if I'm at the park or walking, I can really just
digress.
Yeah, and let those thoughts kind of happen naturally, and sometimes I find solutions in those walks. Right?
Yeah. Exactly,
So,
but you wouldn't do that if you didn't make that time for yourself, Evan. Right. So you have to make that time.
I had surgery in August of last year, of 2020, and so after that surgery, my exercise was literally walking. It was miserable. I hated it, but I did it, and I'd walk around this big path at some place called Creekville Park. It's like a 5-mile walk.
Right.
It took me way longer than it should have, but I did it anyway. But at that time, I got to read books. I get to listen to books, actually.
Yeah. And
actually, I got to listen to Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics, which are great books. I think they're fantastic, good books to read or listen to, because I'm pretty severely dyslexic, so reading's hard for me. But listening to books is great. So you might come up with some great ideas. And then the last piece of advice that I have on that particular topic I think if you're doing the thing that you love doing, the waters aren't that choppy. And in the tough time, in the really tough times, just remember that this too will end. Like it will, the hard time will come to an end, and you will have some clear water. But there's another storm coming.
Right.
Always.
And that's
never going to stop, right? There's going to be a new hurdle. There's going to be something that comes up that's going to be challenging. There's going to be, you're going to get to a point in your business where you have to make a decision. Am I comfortable here, or do I want to grow? And growing means, sometimes it means putting my house on the line, cashing out my 401k.
Significant financial risk.
Significant financial risk if you want to take that next leap forward, right? Sometimes the bank's there to help, sometimes they're not. So, those are things that you're just going to have to go through. And if you want to start a business and run a business, and you don't run rough waters,
don't start a business, man.
Don't start a business. Yeah, go work for somebody else. if not having rough waters is that's important to you,
stop.
Then either do what you love doing and forget everything else, and just be okay with whatever money you make, and that's just acceptable. So if you love making wooden tops on your lathe, just make wooden tops on your lathe and be okay with whatever money you make. Right? If that's what you want to do. If you just don't want to deal with the rough waters, then just go work for somebody else. Right? And
because they never get any less rougher, you just get better. And I don't know how to say it any other way but that.
And the better you get, the more risk you take, which makes you get more rougher waters. But you're better suited for it each time, right?
Right. Because you learn how to solve the problem, how to get the answer. You learn that I have resources. I don't know how to do this. Let me ask. Because last time I tried to go about that, it was a bad idea. Right. You learn how to delegate better. You learn how to I need to have faith and stop that negative self-talk.
Right. So I guess a good anecdote that I have is me and my wife are opening a new business, and we're in the process of doing that. And right now we are about 10 days past our deadline, and we're probably going to be about 30 days past our deadline by the time we're done. And she asked me in the beginning, she's like, hey, I want to learn this process. And I'm like, okay, then hang on as much as you can and learn as much as you can. She's like, but I want to learn the process of doing the permits and the construction and all this stuff. I'm like, well, unfortunately, there's not a single process, because adapting to change is what we talked about earlier.
Right.
Every city, every municipality, every county, every state is going to be a little bit different. And even in the same community,
it changes
a different inspector can give you a different answer than the other inspector did. So,
or maybe the law changed before the last time.
Right. So it's really a situation of, okay, I'm going to get as much information as I can. I'm going to hire the professionals that I need to hire, and I'm going to start moving forward. So the mindset of moving forward is more important than knowing what you're going to do beforehand. Because we're in a situation right now where every single county executive told us one thing, and then everything went, and then we got the zoning, and zoning's like, no, the place has to be rezoned. I'm like, but it's already zoned for that. I'm like, but you're changing use of that particular building.
Right.
So everything goes back into scope for this work. And it's really great that she was through this event with me, because she got to see that, oh man,
there's some stuff that you dealt with by yourself before.
Well, because she wanted to learn it. I'm like, this isn't stuff that you can teach. Like, what you have to know is tenacity. You're going to keep moving forward. Shit's going to get bumpy, but you got to keep moving forward, right?
And that faith helps you keep moving forward. If you lose that faith throughout this process, it's going to stop.
You're dead
right there in your tracks.
The second that you start doubting, can you do this?
It's over.
You're done.
It's over.
Yeah. And if you start doubting, then go to the gym, get your mind clear.
Take a break.
Do whatever you need to do.
Take a break.
If it's at the bar for an hour, go to the bar. Get a client while you're at the bar. I love doing that.
A lot of deals get made at the bar, man.
Yeah. So do those things. Get out of your element and get your faith back, and know that what the steps that you're taking forward, because you're going to have to step on some shaky rocks that are going to feel like you're going to slip, and you just have to have faith in your balance that you can keep moving forward at all times without hesitation. Keep moving forward. Sometimes it's going to be harder than others.
Just keep going.
But when it goes good, it's going to be really gratifying.
It's just like overcoming that speed bag. It just feels amazing, man. The first day is so hard,
feedback is the most gratifying thing that I've
just
learned
hearing
in my
that
whole life.
noise, man,
Yeah.
like it feels
Absolutely.
so great, right?
Yes.
So we're going to end on that note. Thank you guys for listening again. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and you rate our channel. Regardless of each one of the platforms you're on, we're there available for you, okay? If you have questions that you want us to go over, or topics you want us to go over next time, or you have questions you want us to ask, or you want to share with us, 314-216-2040.
And if you want to join my texting community, 314-370-2871. That'll be right up here on the screen. And if you want to know any of my social media profiles, nlink.com/Ken.
Right. And my inlink.com is Brian Montgomery Jr. Okay? Check us out.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, and get to work.
Make it count.